Don't look now, but the Cubs have won 3 straight Sunday games. What? That and more coming up on the Cinnamon Postgame Show right now. Welcome into another Sunday winning edition of the Cinnamon Postgame Show. I am Alex, along with Ty the Cubs guy, as always. Yeah, a fun weekend of baseball, but first, before we get into all of that, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help us out. Kyle, I believe later this week is coming off paternity leave, sources close to me say. So I'm sure he'll have some breakdowns and stuff. So make sure subscribe, like, hit that little bell so you get all the notifications when we post something fun. And today we are going to talk about the Red Series and all of that. That contains. Sorry, folks, I just slurred my words and I caught myself, so it threw myself off. It was my birthday today, not to brag, so I'm a couple beers deep. Anyway.
Happy birthday, big dog.
Thank you, appreciate it. So it might be a rough one for me, but let's get into it. Oh, yes, we're going to play a game of this or that in the middle, and then at the very end of the show, we have a big show announcement. But first, Cubs-Reds. Cubs win another series against a division rival. Their 7-3 win brings the record to 37-22 on the year, which is the second best record in baseball, tied with the Mets. And they are only behind the Detroit Tigers, who have been off to an incredible start this season. And they are 8-4 against the division. They have won each series against division opponents so far, 2-1, no sweeps in there. But winning division series is key to winning the division. So Ty, Cubs win another divisional 3-game set. And boy, does it feel good.
It sure does. This team has really just impressed me top to bottom. Yesterday's game was the pinnacle of that. Not necessarily, again, the best offensive performance here over the last couple of games at Wrigley. Cubs find a way to win. Shout out Will Benson, not loving the right field what do you call it? The foul or the, I don't even know where my words are going right now. He was very, very scared of the wall, as Kyle Tucker has been, of course, too, as of late. But, that was a really fun game because Daniel Palencia actually texted this to the chat when they were in that situation there in the 8th inning where they could have put on, I believe it was 2 more. I think 2 runners were in scoring position. I was really hoping they didn't because I wanted to see how Palencia handled this moment, and it's against a divisional opponent. And he, of course, came through. So that was awesome. Probably one of my favorite games of the year. But then you look at Friday and Sunday's game. And Alex, I just wanted to touch on a few things with those games, right? So Friday's game, that one, that's just going to happen. Andrew Abbott was Cy Young out there. He was incredible. He was, Kershaw back in the day-esque. He was remarkable. Colin Ray couldn't leave the ball in the ballpark. So, you wash that one away. It is what it is. But like I just alluded to, the Saturday performance was awesome. And then, of course, today, the offense finally came alive. It finally felt like their at-bats were actually producing, a solid performance. And overall, I'm just very happy to say that this Cubs team continues to find ways to win ball games. And it's just good times right now over there at Wrigley.
What's funny is the first month of doing the show with you and Kyle, it was like, okay, everything's super intense. Like this team, they're playing all these tough games. Are they going to win? Are they going to lose? And then the month of May, we're like, okay, they should roll this month. And they have. No notes. The only couple concerns I have, and let's just update the Kyle Tucker information right away right now. So if you missed it, Kyle Tucker left the game today for Vidal Brujan, and we all panicked. He slid kind of awkwardly into second base trying to steal. Everyone panicked. During the game, they said it was a jammed finger. X-rays have been confirmed by Bruce Levine to be negative, so he's considered day-to-day. So overall, good news for Kyle Tucker there. So outside of injuries, this season has been really good. It's hard to find complaints. Colin Ray may be regressing a little bit, but Ben Brown showed up on Saturday, and that's actually where I wanted to start with specific game stuff. Ben Brown on Saturday went 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 9 Ks, no earned runs. So my question to you, Ty, did this restore your faith in Ben Brown at all?
Well, I think that it restored my faith in the fact of they are going to use him more strategically now. Craig Counsell alluded to this before the game, being asked why an opener for a guy like Ben Brown. And really, he just said it gives the starter a chance to not face the best hitters in the lineup right away when they get to the mound. So for Ben Brown, if you look over this course of this season, leadoff hitters or the batter, number one, or the leadoff hitter, or top of the lineup with the first guy in the order, has a 1,177 OPS against him, right? So thinking about that, you go, okay, so if he's struggling in right away to, settle in and find his rhythm, why not just scratch that, let him go against the lower end of the lineup, which if you look at the numbers, it's not necessarily much better. But what we saw is that we saw a guy come in and really was dominant. I mean, he really was. Like 17 to 20 batters he faced, first pitch strike, so 85% of the batters, 1 walk to 9 Ks. And you got to give the guy a lot of credit. It's not necessarily been the best performance thus far from Ben Brown. And everyone going after him for only the 2 pitch mix, and that being of issue. Well, it seems like what the Cubs are doing is that, hey, we're going to start with this whole kind of opener strategy until Shota comes back, and we'll talk about that, of course, here in a little bit. But we're going to try to use him in situations that are going to allow him to be more successful. And by the way, it helps when your team is very good, so it gives you the opportunity to use to have these situations, to be given these situations to allow for Brown to be used in this matter. So I think where I'm at right now is that this kind of goes back to my bullpen. Do you have faith in the bullpen? The other day I said I have more faith in the front office, putting the right guys out there. And it feels that way, that with some of the decisions they made thus far, and one of them being using an opener for a guy like Ben Brown. So I think I need to see consistency. That's all. After one performance, great. He has that type of stuff, but I got to see it more and more. So I'm really interested to see what they do next time out.
Well, and that leading into that, do you expect they use openers? I mean, it worked. There's proof of concept now that it worked. And it also helps when the bullpen, who we've all been like, oh, this bullpen sucks. You want to know a fun fact? I lost the date. Shoot. This is why we're live. But they have, in like the last month, a 2.24 ERA, which is like the best in baseball. It's not like the best in baseball. It is the best in baseball. So this bullpen has stabilized. So when you can throw out Drew Pomeranz, hey, Drew, just start the game. You get their 3 toughest hitters. He did it on 9 pitches.
Well, and the other thing too was, and this is a very important point, is that Elly De La Cruz is not the hitter he is from the right side of the dish. He is definitely much better from the left side. So taking the bat out of his hands, where we're gonna use that matchup to our advantage, that Elly cannot be comfortable right away in this game. And then of course, obviously Elly did get some opportunities later on against Ben Brown, but look, like these types of decisions are just like, man, like you look back on it going, I really trust what these guys are doing. I mean, Pomeranz, like 3 up, 3 down, like it was
9
was
pitches.
like that. Unbelievable. It really was. It was a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, back to you.
I mean, yeah, you said, and there's a couple of things I wanted to point out here too, and I know there were a couple of things on your list too. One of the things that I wanted to ask about is transition. Young guys, Matt Shaw has he's been up for about 2 weeks now. He played an unbelievable third base this weekend. I didn't see a ton of Friday and Saturday's games, but he had 2 plays today in the 7th inning. Holy smokes. It was absurd, some of those picks. So my question for you, Ty, not playing the way he has, the bat, I don't know if my expectations are just haven't adjusted yet. I still want to see a little bit more out of the bat, but defensively, man, oh man, do you think Matt Shaw and playing how he has, the Cubs have solved their third base issue for now? I don't know about long term, because who knows if he sticks at third base long term. But at least for 2025, I'm starting to think they solved their third base issue.
Yeah, I mean, look, you want to have an Alex Bregman type of player over at third base going into the playoffs, right? I think that was a great discussion point we made the other day. But what you're seeing from the kid is that he settled into a very difficult position. Like third base in the big leagues, the reaction time, the ability to throw on the run, like all these little things, like he's doing them at such a high level that it's like right away, I don't think he's made an error since he's returned. No. And so I would say, yes, I think it solves what we were dealing with. And I alluded to that on another show with you a couple of weeks ago, where we talked about where the Cubs were with a third base position from offensive and defensively when Shaw was back in AAA. So yeah, I think for the time being, this solves your issue. And I just would hate to see them move him out of that position again, unless he is really, really starting to struggle offensively. But look, he's still having great at bats. Like his swing is still looking outstanding. He's being aggressive at the dish. It's just baseball, man. I mean, failure is a part of this game. It's going to continue to be a part of the game, of course, to the end of time. So for a guy like Shaw, you just see that like he's starting to figure it out over at third. And man, if you could play good defense, that will bypass a lot of the negative thoughts you have at the dish, right? Okay, I got confidence out in the field, but not necessarily at the dish right now. So yeah, to answer your question, I feel good about Shaw right now.
Well, and to your point, that's the Pete Crow Armstrong method, isn't it? That's the formula.
Exactly what it is.
Offensively, look, you're going to be batting 8-9, whatever. We'll take what we can get. Just please, for the love of God, play a good, solid defense. We'll figure the rest out later. They're doing the same thing. The parallels at this point, not looking at numbers, you can tell that, okay, this is kind of the formula. And it worked once. MVP made an appearance again today. 3 more hits today. I don't even know where to go with this because this team is so fun. They are so sound fundamentally. There's some questions in the rotation, but I got to tell you, it's been harder and harder making these outlines for the show because it's just like, I just want to gush all this positivity. I don't care about stats. They're winning and they're beating division opponents, which they haven't done the last couple of years. They are winning these important games. And guess what? The month of June, which I'll show the schedule in just a second, it's a lot of division stuff. So that is a good omen heading into the dog days of summer now.
PCA, I just want to give a huge shout out to because that play he made, if you were able to watch the game, folks, the play he made for the second out in the 9th inning yesterday on that line drive was where you go, are we talking platinum glove? Because holy smokes, this play was unbelievable. Yeah. And, from the offensive side, over the weekend, 4 for 10 for PCA, 1 RBI, 3 runs, 2 walks. Yesterday was his first walk since May 12th. I just couldn't believe that when I saw that stat. So credit to him he looked so good today. You know why? I think the eye black. I'm just going to throw it out there. I think the eye black. I don't know have we seen PCA with the eye black?
I pointed that out today. I was watching the game with my family, and I'm like, PCA's got eye black on. Like, okay. All right, young buck.
Really, couple other things that I just wanted to point out here, unless you had anything else you wanted to bring up here regarding this series.
No.
Really quick.
I'll clear out. ISO, you got the ball.
Well, I just want to give a couple shout outs because I think sometimes, there's so much that we can bring into the show, everyone. We'd love to talk about every single player and every single thing that you want to talk about. So we're going to try to do that as much as we can. Hits on the weekend, Nico with 6 led the way, PCA with 4, and Seiya and Michael Busch with 3. Busch had 4 RBIs. And then runs-wise, PCA led it all. And I got to give a huge shout-out to Michael Busch. An unbelievable game today. Only obviously 3 for 3 over the weekend just because he didn't start Friday's game or Saturday's game due to 2 lefties going. But 3 for 3, a home run, 4 RBIs, 2 runs, and 2 walks. What was really interesting to see, too, was that Council gave Busch that opportunity against a left-handed reliever based on them being up 4-0 in the bottom of the 5th and got that huge RBI single.
Yep.
Seemed as if, of course, Busch earned that opportunity overall. And so a huge credit to him. Like you mentioned, Matt Shaw was unbelievable defensively today. And finally, lastly, I want to give a huge shout out to Jameson Taillon. 8 quality starts out of 12 outings this year. Really only issue I had with him today was that he was against Espinal in I believe it was the top of the 6th. He had him 3-2. He went fastball, sweeper, fastball, and tried to get a sweeper down low. I wish he would have just gone after him there just because you're up 5-0. Weak hitter. You got Ellie on deck. That unfortunately led to a 2-run bomb by Ellie. But other than that, I mean, he's just been unbelievable this season. And that kick change, that addition of that pitch has made his life so much easier against lefties. So want to give a huge shout out to him because he's really been an underrated arm this year for us.
Yeah, and the only thing you can really nitpick with Taillon is the home run ball. Because I don't have the exact numbers on me right now, but I can tell you that in his last 3 starts, I think all of the runs he's given up have come via the homer. So if he can clean that up just a little bit, I wish he was more aggressive because you make a good point. He should have just went after Espinal. You have this massive lead. JD even said it on the broadcast. Like, just go after him. He's going to be ultra aggressive. And for the most part, he was, but there were a couple of bats that's just like, oh. And I mean, that's baseball. That's just sport. That happens. But yeah, if he can just keep the ball in the park a little bit more, he's really been outstanding for what they need. They just need someone in that rotation to stabilize. And he has, without Imanaga, Steele. Boyd's been fantastic, but he hasn't thrown 120 innings in years. And he's already, I think, halfway there. So it's just, Jameson Taillon, thank you for mentioning that because he really was good today outside of the homer to De La Cruz. And obviously De La Cruz is a superstar, so once in a while you're going to get got by a superstar. It happens. Before we move on, let's talk about the standings real quick now that we're into June. So the standings currently, Cardinals lost today in Texas, so the Cubs are now up 4 games in first place on the Dirty Birds. In third place, Milwaukee. Don't look now, folks. The Milwaukee Brewers have won 7 in a row. So just keep an eye out because here they come. The Brewers are now 32-28 on the season, 5.5 games back. Cincinnati, after losing the series to the Cubs this weekend, 29-31 is their record. They are 8.5 back. And the lowly Pirates sit at 15 games back, even though they did win today. All right, so let's get into one of our favorite games to play here on the Cinnamon Post Game Show. This week's edition of time to play a little this or that. And first one I have for you, we're going to talk about Ben Brown yet again. So after another solid outing from Ben Brown on Saturday, Shota Imanaga will be back within the month now, a couple weeks away. The rotation's full. So my question to you, who is more likely to leave the rotation when Imanaga comes back? The 2 likely candidates seem to be Cade Horton and Ben Brown. You could throw another nominee in there. Maybe Colin Ray. Maybe, because he's starting to look like he's regressing a little bit. But for the sake of this exercise, Cade Horton or Ben Brown. And then if you have a case for why it actually should be Colin Ray, I'm all ears.
It's hard with Colin Ray. I'm going to avoid that one for right now. Sure. He's been to think if we didn't have Colin Ray this season. I mean, to go off of your question, I get why that's an actual serious topic, just because he hasn't looked great as of the last couple outings. But again, he's been so clutch for us. The reason why I'm going to say Ben Brown should be moved to the bullpen is because I believe his stuff plays better out of the pen than Cade. Like if you look this year as a reliever, Ben Brown let's see, he's obviously only had minimal times there, but 31 at bats, 4 walks to 14 strikeouts, and only a 418 OPS against him. With Cade Horton, he's at least shown that he can get through 5 and 6 and be effective. Now, here's a very interesting point too. So Cade, this is why this question is so difficult, because Cade realistically hasn't faced much besides the Mets, who obviously are an incredible team. But remember, they did an opener for him there as well.
Yes.
But he's only faced the Rockies, who is last in team OPS in all of baseball, the White Sox, who are 28th, and the Marlins that are 19th. So Cade's upcoming start coming up this Tuesday against Washington. They're 15th in team OPS, and they got some young absolute studs like James Wood and CJ Abrams. So that'll be that'll be quite an interesting matchup for him. And then he'll probably on the back turn there face the Tigers on that following Sunday, who are 9th in team OPS, who have had a stellar year. So to answer your question, I would personally move Ben to the bullpen because of, we see now even today, right? The opener thing, little unique. That's not necessarily a bullpen outing because he's still going 6 innings, but you saw how relaxed he was and how confident he was on the bump, that he wasn't necessarily having to face the top guys right away. But again, if he goes to the pen and he gets brought in a big situation, he's going to have to face the top hitters. So he's going to have to get over that hump there. But realistically, I'm going to say Brown to the pen right now. I need to see how Cade does, though, in the next 2 outings. I think that'll be really critical to know, and it will be a critical point to your – I want you to ask this question after that outing. I would like you to actually bring this question back after he faces the Tigers, because I think that'll be really interesting to see where we're at this point. But right now, I'm going to stay Brown to the pen.
I mean, no notes. Same note too, bro. Like, I agree with you there. Do you think there's a world where either one of them gets sent to AAA?
I would see. I could see Ben Brown going to AAA. Look, and it's not because of the way he performed today. Like a week ago, people were calling for him to get sent to AAA, and then he has an outing like this today, and now it's everyone's of course saying like he should be number 2 in the rotation. It's right. The ebbs and flows of it all. I just think that because of Brown being not having the chance to really use that changeup and go down to AAA and just like work with it a little bit, right? He used it a few different times today, which I was happy to see that. So obviously they're getting on him about, hey, we need to see you use this third pitch a little bit more. So that's why I would like to see him go down there versus a guy like Cade, who has shown that he can throw multiple pitches effectively. So I could see Brown being that for sure.
Yes, and maybe that is an option when Imanaga returns, or heaven forbid something else happens and they need them both in the rotation. They're going to need both these guys for the stretch of the season. And I'll have to find it back in the comments here. Our friend Michael Plowman in the comments, do the Cubs go with a 6-man rotation?
Great question.
I feel like we talk about 6-man rotations a lot and they just never do it. So while it's a good idea, I just don't know that they do that. They haven't historically. So I would say no, even though I do think at some point maybe they do skip a Boyd or a whoever and do a bullpen game. I just don't know that it's a 6-man rotation.
I think that it would have to be where Brown and Cade are looking stellar. I think that's where you go 6. But I think the beauty, and this is going to sound bad, but the beauty in Shota's injury is that he is going to, keep a couple bullets in his holster, because he's not necessarily had to throw this much, this year, and he can, hopefully be in really good shape when he comes back. Michael, that is a great question though, because it is something that is brought up more and more frequently now due to arm injuries and the way teams strategically use arms. Fascinated to see if they do it moving forward, but as of right now, I think they're going to stick with that 5-man rotation moving forward.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get to our next this or that. Who to you has had a more impressive breakout season, Brad Keller or Daniel Palencia? Palencia on this, I love this question. I've really been impressed with both these guys on the season. Daniel Palencia has an 0-1 record with a 1.74 ERA in 20 innings 20 and 2/3 innings pitched, 5 saves, and a .6 wins above replacement. Brad Keller, on the other hand, 2-0, a 2.22 ERA in 28 and a third innings pitched, and a .4 WAR. I mean, this is a really tough one, so I will let you answer first.
Yeah, I'll be really quick. I think it's Palencia just based off the fact of is that he's never had a successful track record before. Now, Brad Keller, hasn't necessarily been an all-star in the past, but he's at least been in the big leagues for quite some time. And realistically, with being a starter, you go from a starter to the bullpen role. You are now not necessarily needing to rely on your best stuff to be across 5 to 6 innings. You can now go out there and let it all eat in 1 to 2. So going from that, I feel like Palencia has just been so much more impressive because it's just that, and again, if you watch the games, like he was not good.
No.
And something has clicked. And I'm going to do a deeper dive into this next time I'm on the show, because it really is like, what is he truly doing different? And I think it's just the fact that he's able to control his fastball. And when you're able to control your fastball like he is, like if you see his strikeout he had against Goodman the other day, the strikeout he had against, I can't remember who the last hitter was in yesterday's game. I believe it might've been McLean, if I'm not mistaken. Either way,
yeah, I don't remember.
Either way, like that fastball is now an elevated fastball from him is so much like such a better pitch for him based on the fact that he's able to control the fastball in the zone, because now they got to protect. And so it's probably the first strike percentage and those sorts of things that we talked about with Ben Brown earlier. But man, I can't say though that it's really like, it's obviously going to be Daniel Palencia in this situation, because Brad Keller has just been, you just got to give hats off to the front office. They have just done wonders with some of these guys that they've been able to grab that many people didn't even think would be of a resource to a team this year, like a Drew Pomeranz or a Brad Keller or Caleb Thielbar. So I'm going to go with Palencia, but man, that's a great question.
I think I lean Palencia as well, which I know it doesn't make for great first take type debate, but Palencia is a lower 20s kid. He's now closing games for a playoff contender. Now, while I think I trust Brad Keller more, I just cannot. Palencia, we were all in spring training like, oh my God, this guy can't find the strike zone with a GPS. And now he comes in, it's like, oh, gas up the car. Here we go. And he's throwing 101, and sometimes it's effectively wild. Like yesterday, I watched the last at bat. You could tell he was trying to strike him out with everything he had. And he threw one, I think it was a 102 or 103. It wasn't even close, but you knew it was like, okay, he is going to reach back, and whatever he's got, here it comes. And with that ride, you could see it elevates a little bit. Looked like a little bit of a riser on TV yesterday. But if you have that, I mean, Carlos Marmol, for as much as we all kind of despised him back in the late 2000s, he was effectively wild at times with that, I mean, just ungodly slider. It's kind of the same. I get that kind of deal with Palencia. Like, I have no idea where the ball's going sometimes, but neither does the hitter. And if it's 101, you got to make a decision whether you're swinging really quick within a blink of an eye. So I think I lean with you, Palencia, but we cannot give enough love to Brad Keller because he has been unbelievable. But like you said, we've seen Keller have success at the big league level. We were all ready to cut Palencia last September, and now he's now he's our closer. It's absolutely wild.
That makes me also really excited to see what Luke Little is when he comes back, because the Palencia has been sort of the same track record as a Luke Little. So I'm excited to see, hopefully we can get Little back up here at some point to see if he makes those adjustments. Sorry, not to go off topic here, but you kind of start to see a trend here. Maybe the Zombro effect is starting to make its way through to other guys that are already in the organization. So something to watch out for.
Oh, absolutely. And I know you and I have touched on that a couple times here in the last couple of weeks. Like, hey, this must be a Zombro thing. This guy didn't have it. Now all of a sudden, what happened? Well, Zombro's here. Hottovey's, I think, a fantastic pitching coach, but you get a little extra help from outside the organization, a different view, and here we go. Pomeranz is always the answer. I cannot believe how good that dude has been. It's wild. Our last one for this or that for this edition of the game. Who do you trust more in a clutch situation? One, Nico Horner, who came through today, or one, Mr. Seiya Suzuki, who's been coming through for most of the season. Nico Horner, this is per Marquee, and actually, this is a big enough stat. Choir?
Stat of the day.
Per Marquee, Nico Horner is second all-time minimum 500 at-bats in average with runners in scoring position. Mark Grace is currently the Cubs all-time leader, a 315 average with runners in scoring position. Nico Horner is second at 312. Then Aramis Ramirez at 311 and Derek Lee at 308. Those are three of the biggest names in Cubs history. And he sits at number 2. The dude just continues to be clutch. This season alone, with runners in scoring position, according to CBS Sports, Nico Horner is hitting .436. That is video game-like. But then on the other hand, you have one Mr. Seiya Suzuki who's tied with the major league lead with 51 RBIs with Rafael Devers. And on the season, again per CBS Sports, is hitting .354 with runners in scoring position. So I asked you, Ty, bottom of the ninth, 2 out, runner on second and third, Cubs need a hit to win. Who do you expect to come through more, Nico Horner or Seiya Suzuki?
I truly believe it's Nico, and it's really a credit to him for the approach he has towards the game of baseball, right? Like totally, like the number one example of all of this was his at bat today, and I believe it was. Gosh, I'm so sorry for blanking on this. Of when they scored, when he had a 2-out, 2-strike single, where he took 2 fastballs where you went, man, like, why are you taking those 2 fastballs right down the middle? And his ability to hit with 2 strikes is why I'd feel more confident, because of the fact that these relievers are so good in the back ends of bullpens where you're going to get the best stuff from these guys. And the ability to hit with 2 strikes, the ability to hit basically anything around the plate, some of the swings he's taken on 2 strikes and able to put bat to ball is truly amazing. Seiya cannot do that. Unfortunately, Seiya is, in a really good situation this year with the line of construction, having Kyle Tucker there. He's getting more pitches to hit and he's being more aggressive. But realistically, I feel more confident with Nico Horner in that situation.
I think I'm there with you, and the numbers back it up. When I saw Marquee put out that he is second all-time in Cubs batting average with runners in scoring position, it's insane. And then you watch, like last year, we were like, oh my gosh, this guy isn't clutch at all. I remember listening to our competitors, and they're like, oh, this guy isn't clutch, this isn't clutch. And then this year, he's been basically the guy who we all kind of expect. He's been nothing but fantastic with runners in scoring position. And even today, runners on, Nico at the plate. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like 60% sure he was at least going to make contact. And if he was making contact, I felt pretty good about getting those runs in. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's Nico Horner. But I don't want to say that to diminish anything Seiya is doing, because he should have had another home run today. The wind knocked it down, because of course it did. The Wrigley winds have really just been
brutal.
What a pain in the ass that's been this year.
It really is.
Last year too, but even today, like, I think the real feel when the game started was like 50 degrees. It's summer now. What's happening, Mother Nature?
It's strange. It doesn't help that we hit in the double plays, like the amount of double plays we've hit in the last couple of games either. So it's just it was just a rough couple of games there offensively, but it was good to see them get out of it. I mean, credit to Nico, man. 6 for 12 over the weekend, like unbelievable. And that at bat he had, folks, was in the bottom of the 7th. And I tell you what, it was hilarious to watch, because he gets 2 fastballs basically right down the middle, and you hear JD go, "Oh, you want that one back?" And then he takes another one in the same spot, and you're like, "Huh?" And they made a good point. They're like, "Oh, he's probably looking for the changeup or whatever." But he had 2 sinkers that were it was actually 2 sinkers, excuse me, and he decided to go back with it again. And Nico just was obviously looking to hit the ball to the right side. And man, that was just clutch. So yeah, credit to Nico, man. He's definitely, I definitely want him in that spot over Seiya. So,
and our friends at Locked On, I saw, had tweeted out that they're starting the All-Star campaign for Nico Horner. And while I still think he should be there, I think Brendan Donovan for the Cardinals, who's been unbelievable, probably gets the starting spot. But I mean, yeah, I think we as a podcast, us as a network, we should team up with some of these other podcasts to get this done. So #vote Nico whenever that time comes. All right, so we have finished the baseball portion of our show. We have some self-indulgent news we need to get to. But first, a word from our friends at Obvious Shirts.
Setup Nation, I want to take a quick break so that you know how you can support our channel and wear some cool swag like this. We've teamed up with Obvious Shirts to give you a chance to have your very own Setup Man shirt or hat. Pick from 3 different types of shirts or my personal favorite, the trucker hat. Go to the link in the description of this video and podcast to claim your Setup Man apparel. And thank you so much for supporting our channel.
Thank you for the support indeed. And actually, I am a stone cold liar because I do want to mention the Cubs have the Nationals starting Tuesday. Each game is at 5:45 Central. We don't know the pitcher for Thursday's game, but they just came out and said it will be Cade Horton Tuesday, Matthew Boyd on Wednesday, and then TBD on Thursday for what that is worth. So we've now come to the show and the part of the show where we have a huge show announcement. So I guess probably breaking news worthy. The Setup Man post-game show is changing as you know it. We have said from the beginning we are building this airplane in the sky and seeing where this lazy river takes us. Well, we're making a change. So instead of a Sunday through Wednesday constant post-game show where we're doing this every day, we found ourselves spinning our wheels some. I know I was recycling takes. Ty, I know you had said you were recycling takes. So to be totally transparent with the audience, we are now switching from the daily post-game show to a series recap show. So what does that entail? Well, based off the schedule, just looking at the Cubs schedule, which I have right here, it's going to be, for the most part, Sunday nights like we're doing right now, and usually Wednesday or Thursday, depending on schedule. So this week, Kyle coming off paternity leave, him and I will be doing Thursday night after the game against Washington. But the other part of this is there won't be as many live shows. Now, we do have some stuff in the works. Spoiler alert, we are talking behind the scenes about doing a trade deadline show, which would be live. Maybe we even take your calls for that. We're still working through details and schedules and all that stuff. But there will be occasions, or say the Cubs trade for an ace out of nowhere. We'll do an emergency live show. So there will be times where we will be live, but for the most part, it's going to be once, maybe twice a month. And really, we're doing this so that we, Ty, myself, Kyle, Sean, whoever else in the Setup Man Network, we want to give you the most value. When you listen to us, we want to make sure we're trying to learn something together, teach you guys something. You guys teach us stuff in the comments all the time. So we just want to bring the most value to you, the audience, because you guys are the absolute best. I told Kyle, Cubs fans are a different breed, man. I am a Packer fan, diehard. That's a historic franchise. As much as I love them, that fan base doesn't quite have the juice and the passion that the quote-unquote lovable losers have been born and bred to have. So we want to make sure we match that intensity and your passion. So to do that, we think the best is a less is more approach. So yeah, so we're here today. We're live. Kyle and I will be recording something after the game. So that will be in your podcast feeds and on YouTube after the game on Thursday when they face the Nationals. Ty, did I miss anything there? I've just been rambling for 10 minutes.
No, and I think first off, we just want to thank everyone.
Absolutely.
You all have been, there's new names that have been popping up into the chat and engagement on YouTube. And I know sometimes some of those comments are pretty harsh and they might be, everyone is entitled to their opinion. And realistically we're fortunate to have that. And we're fortunate to have people listening to what we have to say. And hopefully you all feel like you enjoy hanging out with us. And it's we understand that some people may love to have that post-game show to turn on after the game and listen in. We appreciate that as well. But overall, we want to be able to provide you with the most valuable content that we can provide. And we believe at this time that this is the route we're going to take moving forward. It does not mean that like Alex mentioned, we'll still have live programs. We'll still have, those critical critical shows and other things that we do throughout the year. But at this time, we feel like, this is the best step for us moving forward. So we just want to thank you again and very excited to, for this next step in our journey.
Yeah. And you said it, but I also want to say thank you to the fans. This is Ty and I's first year with the Set Up Man Network, and we're now into June, which is already crazy. We have a first place team that we get to celebrate pretty much every day. And we get to celebrate with some of the greatest podcast fans out there. So thank you, Setup Nation. And with that said, Cubs Nationals this week. Kyle off paternity leave will be back with me Thursday night. That will be in your podcast feeds by Friday morning for your morning commute. And that's going to do it for us. So thank you for indulging us and our self-indulgence there at the end. Thank you for playing this or that. I saw the comments were playing along with us. So thank you for that. And thank you for listening and making time out of your Sundays to join us. But for Ty, I am Alex. We are going to go ice up. We will see you Thursday night.